In this video, I'll explain step by step how to form a Florida Protected Series LLC, and by the end of this video, you'll learn exactly how to do it. I'm Santiago Cueto, board certified international business law expert and best-selling author based right here in Miami, Florida. Let's dive in. Now here's why this matters. Florida adopted the Protected Series LLC statute under Chapter 605 of the Florida Revised LLC Act. That changed the game. Before this, if you wanted to separate liability between different assets or business lines, you had to form multiple LLCs. That meant multiple state filings, multiple registered agent fees, and multiple annual reports. It added up super fast. Now, the Protected Series LLC lets you accomplish much of that same separation under one single umbrella entity. But there is a catch. If you do not form it correctly, the liability protection between your series can fail. So let me walk you through every step. Here's step one. You need to form your master LLC with the Florida Department of State Division of Corporations. This is your parent entity. Think of it as the foundation that everything else sits on top of. Then you will file your articles of organization through the Sunbiz website. That is sunbiz.org. That's the official portal of Florida business filings. Now, here's the part most people skip. Your articles of organization must contain specific language that authorizes the creation of protected series. This is not optional. Florida law requires it. And if your articles do not include a clear statement that the LLC may establish one or more protected series, you do not have a protected series. You have a regular LLC. And regular LLCs do not give you that internal liability wall. So when you're filing, pay close attention to the language in your articles. Get this wrong at the beginning, and everything you build afterward sits on a cracked foundation. All right, step two, draft your operating agreement. This is where the real architecture of your Protected Series LLC lives. Your operating agreement needs to do several things. It needs to establish this governance structure for the master LLC itself, and it needs to lay out the process for creating individual protected series. And it needs to define how assets, liabilities, and members are associated with each specific series. This is not a template for you to pull off the internet for free. I say that because I have seen business owners with millions of dollars in real estate holdings try to use a generic operating agreement. Then they end up in litigation, and the court looks at that document and finds no meaningful separation between the series. And at that point, the entire structure falls apart. So your operating agreement should read like a blueprint. Every series should have its own defined purpose, its own allocated assets, and its own members or managers, if applicable. Now, the more precise you are here, the stronger your liability shield becomes. All right, here's step three. Establish your first protected series. Under Florida law, a protected series is created when your operating agreement or a specific series designation identifies it, assigns it a distinct name, and associates specific assets and obligations with it. Each series must include the master LLC's name in its own name. So if your master LLC is called Coastal Holdings LLC, your first series might be called Coastal Holdings LLC Protected Series 1. And here's what makes this so powerful. The debts and liabilities of one series cannot be enforced against the assets of another series or against the master LLC itself. This is a liability firewall. If you own 3 rental properties and each one sits inside its own protected series, a lawsuit arising from one property cannot reach the other 2. That is hundreds of thousands of dollars in assets protected from a single claim. Hey, quick pause here. If you're finding this information valuable, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps this video reach more business leaders who could use this content right now. And if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe now so you don't miss the next update on Florida business law. Step 4. This is the step that separates a protected series LLC that holds up in court from one that does not. You need to maintain strict separation between each series. That means separate books and records for every series. Separate bank accounts for every series. assets titled in the name of the specific series they belong to, and revenue and expenses tracked independently. I cannot stress this enough. Florida courts will look at whether you actually operated each series as a distinct unit. If you commingle funds between Series 1 and Series 2, you have just given a plaintiff's attorney the argument that series are not truly separate. This is called piercing the corporate veil, and it works exactly the way piercing the corporate veil works with traditional corporations. Now, if you're managing properties worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars across multiple series, treat each one as if it were its own standalone LLC. That discipline is what preserves the protection. Step 5, handle your tax obligations correctly. This is where things get nuanced. The IRS has not issued definitive guidance on the federal tax treatment of series LLCs. In practice, most tax professionals either treat each series as a separate entity for tax purposes or treat the entire structure as one entity. The approach you take depends on your specific situation, your number of members, and how your income flows. Now, Florida itself does not impose a state income tax on individuals, but if your series are generating substantial revenue, you still need to think about federal tax elections. Should a particular series elect to be taxed as an S-corp? Should the master LLC file as a partnership? These are decisions that directly affect how much of your income you keep. And for anyone managing significant investment portfolios or real estate holdings, this step alone can save tens of thousands of dollars per year if handled correctly. Now, work with a CPA who understands series LLC taxation. This is not a general accounting work. Now, step 6, file a registered series designation with the Florida Department of State if you want public notice of your individual series. This is an optional step, but it carries weight. Filing a registered series designation with Sunbiz puts the public on notice that a specific protected series exists. It creates an official record with the state, and while Florida law does not require this filing for the liability protections to take effect, having that public record adds another layer of credibility to your structure. Think of it as reinforcing the walls you've already built. If your series ever gets challenged in litigation, having the state filing on record demonstrates that you treated the series as a legitimate, distinct entity from day one. For high-value assets, that additional documentation is worth every penny. Now, step 7, review your structure annually. Laws change. Your business evolves. A protected series LLC that was perfectly structured 3 years ago might have gaps today. Maybe you acquired new assets that need to be allocated to a different series. Maybe Florida updated its LLC statute with new requirements. Maybe you added a business partner who needs to be reflected in the operating agreement. So an annual review with a qualified Florida business attorney keeps your structure current and your protection intact. This is especially true for business owners and investors managing portfolios in the millions of dollars. Now, the cost of yearly review is a fraction of what you could lose if your series protections fail when you need them the most. So let me bring this all together. Forming a Florida Protected Series LLC starts with your articles of organization on Sunbiz with the right statutory language. Then you build a detailed operating agreement. You establish each series with clear asset allocation. You maintain strict financial separation, and you handle your tax elections properly. And you consider filing a registered series designation with the state. And you review everything on an annual basis. Get these steps right, and you have one of the most efficient asset protection structures available in Florida today. Now, this video helped you understand how the Florida Protected Series LLC works. Hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. I put out new videos regularly on Florida business entity formation, asset protection strategies, and corporate structuring for executives and investors. I'm Santiago Cueto, your Florida business attorney. Be sure to watch more of my videos right here.